If you are a new, aspiring, or an already quite seasoned children's author and you're feeling a bit stuck or discouraged at times, then this video is for you. Hi there, I'm Eevi, an award-winning children's author and ghostwriter over on eevijones.com and the creator of Children's Book University. I create videos specifically for children's authors, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. Having helped and supported fellow children's authors since 2018, I felt it really important to create a video just like this one. I hope that this video becomes part of your arsenal and toolkit that you refer to often. I encourage you to watch this and rewatch it every time self-doubt creeps in, whenever others try to take the wind out of your sail, or whenever you feel like giving up. This may sound silly, but our mindset truly is everything. And so often it's our mindset that prevents us from reaching the goals we have set for ourselves. I share so many resources like my videos here to help aspiring authors with their children's books. And even though they are available to everyone, not everyone that watches my videos crosses the finish line. Why? Because the know-how means nothing if we aren't prepared to implement these steps and if we aren't mentally prepared to succeed. If all it took to write and publish our children's book was simply to know what to do, everyone who watches how-to videos would write and publish one, right? So there's got to be more than just knowing what and how to do things. Over the years, I've come to understand that taking on this journey and also completing this journey starts in our minds. I always give you the hows, but encouraging and motivating you is just as important. It's really needed, and that's why I really wanted to make this video for you. I have written, co-authored, and ghostwritten so many books over the years. It's my absolute favorite thing to do. But becoming a full-time children's author wouldn't have been possible if I wasn't actively aware of my mindset every single day. And so here are 5 mindset shifts that have really helped me so much over the years, and that I would like to share with you because they will really help us get to where we want to be. Number 1 is to know that other people's opinion doesn't really matter, but that the circle we surround ourselves with does. Every great writer has once been a beginner, and every great writer had people around them that didn't believe in them. In fact, here's a list of crushing feedback received by some of the biggest and well-known authors. It's a list I always keep close by and reread every time I need a little bit of extra motivation. First, we must ask, does it have to be a whale? That's what Herman Melville was asked about his book Moby Dick. Stick to teaching. That was said to Louisa May Alcott, the author of Little Women. Someone once said to Emily Dickinson, "Your poems are quite as remarkable of defects as for the beauties and are generally devoid of true poetical qualities." If I may be frank, I found your efforts to be both tedious and offensive. That was said to Ernest Hemingway about his book The Sun Also Rises. You'd be better off imitating more conventional American styles of children's book illustration, and your protagonist is far too controversial and rude. That's what was said to Maurice Sendak about his book Where the Wild Things Are. There are so many more examples of crushing feedback like this, yet we still all know these authors, right? Why? Because they didn't let feedback like this stop them. Imagine if these authors had listened to this feedback and let themselves be held back by these pieces of advice. What treasures we would have lost. So whether you're still in the beginning phases of your writing or have already published your beautiful children's book, don't let other people's opinion destroy your dream of writing and sharing your story, my sweet friend. Your story deserves so much more than that. We don't want to pay attention to or listen to unnecessary voices or noises around us that don't really serve us and that don't help us get to where we want to go. If someone hasn't already done what we set out to do, we shouldn't listen to their advice. If this person isn't successful in this field, we shouldn't listen to their advice. If this person's values aren't aligned with our own, we shouldn't listen to their advice. And if there are groups or organizations, whether they're online or in person, that make us feel less than, where we see unkindness instead of support, we can choose to mute them or don't partake in them. I even canceled attending an event once, even though I had already purchased my ticket because it didn't feel quite right. Instead, we will want to hang out in places and surround ourselves with people that inspire us, that motivate us, and that make us feel supported and good inside. Number 2 is to know that we can do new and hard things. Whenever my youngest son has had a quiz or test in school, oftentimes he tells me afterwards, "Mama, this test was so easy." And I always try to make him see why by asking him, "Well, why was it easy?" And he always responds, "Because I practiced." We work hard to make it easy. That's the secret. If we see others do something seemingly effortlessly, chances are they practiced. They tried, failed, and tried again. And the same holds true for creating and sharing our children's book. Writing our story and shaping it into a children's book involves a learning process, right? Just like everything else. So yes, we will encounter things we may have never done before. We will have moments that might feel a bit harder than others. But when it comes to learning new things and doing things that are a bit challenging, the most valuable mindset we can have is an open and curious one. I love being curious. That's one of the values that got me to where I am today. I constantly ask myself, how does this work? Why doesn't this work? How can I get it to work? That's the mini conversation I have going on in my head all the time. A mind that is open and curious will have so much more fun learning new things. And instead of thinking, I already know this, we can switch to thinking, I may have already heard this before, but what's one new thing I can learn from this? Instead of thinking, this is too overwhelming, we can switch to thinking, what's my next baby step here? Staying curious, open, and humble will serve us so well. That's the most valuable mindset we can have when it comes to learning new things. Oftentimes when we are saying things like, I don't think I have time right now, or I want to do X, Y, and Z first, or right now is not the right moment. More often than not, these aren't the real reasons that are holding us back. Instead, it is us being afraid to do something we have never done before. We are afraid to try something new. We are afraid to be pushed out of our comfort zone and feel uncomfortable. And we are really afraid to fail. But like I've said so many times in my other videos, there is no such thing as failure. We either win or we learn. Both lead to growth. These moments only lead to failure if we don't learn from them. So yes, we can do new and hard things. Number 3 is to know and remember our why. That's something I believe in wholeheartedly. That's how my book, How to Self-Publish a Children's Book, begins, and that's also how I start my Children's Book University program. Knowing our why, having a why, a reason for writing our beautiful children's book is one of the biggest driving forces that can get and push us to wherever we wish to go. Our why is what will help us focus throughout the entire creation process. Why am I writing this book? What's my reason or motivation behind it? Paul, who is over 80 years young, his reason for writing his Freddy the Frog series, for example, was to be able to take his stories he once came up with for his own children when they were little and share and preserve them for his 20 grandchildren and 16 great-grandchildren. Heather's reason for writing her beautiful Augie the Therapy Doggy series was to teach little readers about the world of therapy dogs. Tina's reason for writing her Better Than a Bully series was to show young readers about the different perspectives of those being bullied, bystanders, and those who are the bullies. And John's reason for writing his Cindertooth fairy tale series was to write something fun and entertaining together with his children. We all have our own whys. No why is better than others. As long as our why motivates us, it's the perfect why for us. So we will always want to be mindful of what it is we want. So when looking for our own why, we can ask ourselves questions like, what is it that I'm trying to achieve with my beautiful children's book? How is it going to make an impact? How will this make a difference in even just one little boy or girl's life? Because that's what we will want to remember anytime naysayers or our own doubt creep in. If our why is strong enough, it will carry us through the entire creation process of our beautiful children's book. Number 4 is to know that there's true power in one. There is so much power in taking one step and one idea at a time. So many of us bubble over with ideas for our children's books, me included. In fact, I have an entire book filled with ideas. And so we are torn into so many different directions because we don't know which of these ideas to act on first. And oftentimes, because we don't know which we should begin with first, we don't begin at all. So taking it one step and one idea at a time allows us to focus and prioritize so that we can decide how to best spend and allocate our often already very limited time without feeling rushed or pressured in any way. And that's something so important to realize. There shouldn't be any rushing of any kind because our book creation has no deadline. The only deadline we may have is a self-imposed one. It's arbitrary. And more often than not, it won't serve us because it just stresses us out, which in turn leads to so many aspiring children's authors to just quit completely. They didn't feel they were able to finish fast enough, and so they simply quit altogether. For example, every year, especially around any holiday season, so many of us get really antsy and perhaps even a bit panicky, thinking we have to publish our book before the upcoming holiday to make it available to all the holiday shoppers. But our books are evergreen, meaning once we have created them and have published them, they'll be there forever, unless we decide to take them down. So if we don't make it in time for this holiday season, it will be there for the next one. As long as we are continuously working on our story and our book, that's really all that matters. Slow and steady often wins the race, especially when we can't allocate lots of time to the writing of our story. In the end, how long it may take us doesn't really matter. There's no need to put any pressure on ourselves, because this is meant to be fun and fulfilling. We are creating something truly special, something that will be around even once we are no longer around. Our books will live on and will continue to impact those who read them. What we are creating matters and impacts others in so many beautiful ways, and that's something we will want to remember throughout the entire creation process. So remember the power of one. And finally, number 5 is to know that there's room for everyone. Now, this may be a bit of a more unconventional mindset shift, but it's such an important one, especially within the author community. If we believe that there's room for everyone, we will see others as our fellow authors we want to support and cheer for, and whom we are happy for whenever they experience a win. But if we believe that there's only so much room at the top, we will begin to see others as our competition. And so if we see others as competition, we won't support, we won't cheer, and we won't be happy for others. And sadly, that's a trend I've been seeing within the author community, where one author's success is seen as another author's loss. But it doesn't have to be this way. Let's have an abundant mindset, where there is always more of everything in life, including space at the top. I truly believe that the more we give, the more we'll get. Being supportive with our time, our support, and our kindness toward one another fosters stronger relationships and enriches our lives in ways we often don't expect. It is my hope that by adopting these 5 mindsets, you will continue to believe in yourself and your beautiful children's book, no matter what stage it may currently be in. I've created so many resources for you over these past few years, yet in the end, they mean nothing if we don't implement and use them. There's a reason why it's called self-love, self-worth, self-confidence, self-awareness. Everything we want in life starts with our own self. It starts with you. So if we adopt these mindsets, use the tools provided to us, and stick with it, our success is inevitable. I really hope that with the help of my resources, you get to create something you are truly proud of, something that you will love sharing with little ones all around you. Because even though you may not see it right now, what you are creating matters and impacts others in so many beautiful ways. I really hope you found this video helpful and that you re-watch it often, whenever you need a little motivational boost. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. That's how you can motivate and encourage me to keep making free videos for you just like this one. Here's to always believing in ourselves. Bye!